One. Here we go. All right, perfect. We're jumping in.
What's
So
up, man?
let's do it. So why don't we show people local dev? Sound good?
What's local dev?
All right, local dev. Check it out. So I got side by side here. We got Stackbit over on this side, and I can open up a normal Stackbit site in the browser, which is cool. But I don't have anything where I can actually code in our local environment. So how do we do that? We do that with Stackbit local dev. So I got what all the developers in the world know with VS Code, Atom, Sublime, whatever IDE they're using. They can pop right in here with any kind of clean Next.js repository. They run npm run dev, which is what every developer knows. And so we get that, and we get this localhost 3000, which is cool.
Sounds like a future version of localhost.
Yeah, so so localhost 2022 right here. But there's no editing on top, which is what Stackbit's all about, right? So now what we have is the ability for all of Stackbit, which we're seeing here, to run locally on a computer, which doesn't sound that big a deal if you're a marketer, but you're a developer. This is mind blowing. So we can run Stackbit dev, and boom, we get this little link here, and it pops it open. So what's going on here, Ohad? Tell me what's the real trick? What's happening?
Okay. So here's the thing, right? So developers are more particular than say marketers and how they like to play with things and evaluate things, right? And so if I'm an engineer, the best way for me to learn something or get an idea or an impression of a product that's focused on developers is for me to be able to play with it. And I'm a little less inclined to start talking about giving you permissions to my code and let's create something new and so forth. So if I can, why am I even here? Like I have a website. It's probably a modern React-based website. Maybe it's on Next.js or Gatsby. Maybe it's deployed to Netlify. It doesn't matter. And I wanna be able to visually edit it. My team needs it. My team needs to run faster. My marketing team needs to be able to create new pages, move things around without constantly harassing me. And so I want to evaluate this thing. The best way for me to do it, because I already have this website running locally, I want to just run Stackbit locally. Run me through this process. Let me get a feel for what it's like to do visual editing, and let me see what it takes to integrate it, right? Because with any type of product like this, is this going to be a pain in the ass to integrate? Is this going to be fun? Is this going to be 5 minutes? Is this going to be 5 hours? Totally. Is this going to work with my stack? And so that's kind of we're really putting local development front and center, mainly so that developers who are evaluating the Jamstack and headless and decoupled architecture can, within 5 minutes, get an idea for what it's like to use Stackbit to empower, their marketers to edit the website. It's just about getting them to this aha moment with, the minimum amount of friction and reasons for them to stop and pause and say, hold on.
Right. So in my mind, here's the aha moment. So we have title, subtitle, right? Over here, we got a title, we've got a subtitle. So let's just throw in a little P tag in between that. And we'll say, this is a little P tag. Right here, we'll see it show up, but it's not editable, right? So to find this aha moment, we're going to take something like this, which a developer can just put into code in a normal way that's clean. There's no dependencies, plugins, wrappers, no bullshit. They just put this in, and now we're going to make this fully editable the same way we make the other ones.
So in other words, you're showing the absolute minimum amount of work that a developer needs to do in order to take a React component in their website and make that fully visually editable by marketing.
Nailing it. Yeah, exactly. This is the perfect handoff moment where no longer does Sally or Ricky have to come into my DMs and ping me about making some little change on the website to update a H1. I can now give them full control so they don't have to load my DMs or load my Jira tickets with these silly.
Perfect. So I'm looking at your component on the left. I can see the P tag. It's getting rendered. That's your component. Yep. Has nothing to do with Stackbit. What are you doing now?
So now what I'm doing is, you can see I opened up this little file called a YAML file, which, Ohad, I know you absolutely love these files.
Files, yeah.
But in here,
the YAML file version of this video eventually.
inside of here, this is just a content model, right? This is the same thing that you're seeing inside of a Contentful, the same thing you're seeing inside of a Sanity. It's just how the content is defined. So I'm going to take this one here and we're just going to duplicate it. You can see this is a type string. You can see we have ones that are type model. You can think of these as type date time, type number, whatever. So I'm going to make another field here, and we're just going to call this, we're just going to call it p tag, and I'm going to call this one p tag, and we're going to say this is a big p tag. And so we'll save this here in the YAML, which is now defining a new field inside of Stackbit. And so I'm going to go back here into Stackbit, and we're going to add this in right here. So I'm going to add in props.p tag, and I'm pretty sure I used the p tag with the capital. Oh nope, it's all lowercase. I'm glad I checked. So let's we're live coding here. So we got the p tag in, right? And so now we should see this show up as this new field inside of this component here, and there it is. Cool.
Perfect.
So we can now add this and say hello world, and let's jump back over here, and now we see it, which is awesome, right? So we have control, but we're not seeing this the highlights. Well, this is one missing piece, right?
Okay.
And so this one last little missing piece that we put in here is the key part that Stackbit puts in. It's a very light little annotation where you write data SB field path, and then you just reference whatever the ID of that field is. So for this one, we had the ID as p tag, and now check it out in a few moments here. Here's the highlights. And
it's so cool. It's so cool that our engineers made this react so quickly. It's just because, again, when you build stuff for developers, it just really sends the message that like this system is so tight and so on top of everything. But maybe there's something that may not be clear to people. It's basically you have your website, you have your React components, and like you'll have a React component for like a hero section, right? But in more modern web development architectures, you'll want to separate the content out to somewhere else, right? And so what Ryland is doing here with this tagging is basically just creating this minimal connection that's saying this is a React component and this is the content and this is how these two things map. And Stackbit takes this whole thing and makes an editing experience from it. But when people end up making changes, it just gets written down back to Markdown or Contentful or whatnot. Ryland, I think your mic is going crazy when you're not.
Oh, is that my mic, man?
Oh, it's here.
Let me close this one up.
You have a fan? You have a fan on your computer?
I have I got a little heater in here. It's wintertime, so that must have been hey, for the first video, we're gonna have little moments like that, but we'll get better at these.
Okay. So that's cool. So what? So a developer that has a React website with Next.js or some other modern framework can just download our CLI and within 5 minutes get a feel of what it's like to visually edit their existing website. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, totally. So if you've made it this far, we got 2 minutes left before LinkedIn cuts us off. So we're going to show you exactly how the developer would do it, which is open up the terminal here and cd into whatever you want, and just run npm create, or sorry, it's npx create Stackbit app, and we'll get this up in the next 90 seconds so you can see it. We'll call it Y.
The font size?
Enter.
Thanks.
There we go. How's that? A little better? That's the biggest terminal window I've ever seen. So we're going to clone the repo locally. It's installing the dependencies, and then we're going to have we're going to cd into the file or the folder, and then we're just going to run npm run dev. And I think this is gonna spit it out. So in literally under a minute, here we are up in a brand new local dev environment that we have up and running. So that's the command, and that's how you get going with Stackbit.
Awesome. Next week we take it to the moon.
All right, I'll see you on the moon, man. Yeah.